We're back.
We're back, and we're here with the first of our interviews. I'm here with Matt Ellis, the CEO and founder of Measurabl. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
So, Matt, I think for our online audience, maybe the first thing is just to say, what does Measurabl do?
Ever-evolving answer on that one, but we're a sustainability data management platform focused specifically on the built environment, and by that I mean commercial property, commercial buildings. So we measure, manage, and report their ESG or sustainability performance.
So why is that important? Why do real estate companies, why are they interested in measuring that performance?
So, quite a few reasons, but commercial buildings, taken together with residential, are the single largest asset class on the planet. Okay, if you break out the commercial buildings from that, 18% of US energy consumption, 18% of carbon emissions, several significant digits of materials use, water use. By the way, we spend 90% of our time indoors, so the health and well-being impacts are significant. So if you want to have a thought or an approach to sustainability, you've got to focus on what's nearly 1/5 of that footprint, right, in the commercial environment, and that's where we play.
So in terms of, so you're specifically finding ESG data.
Right.
So that's a little bit different than a lot of these like smart building tech plays. Or is it similar? How is it different?
It's very different. Same broad backdrop, right, which is we do need to understand the building and its performance. But here's the thing, the framework is E, S, and G, as you pointed out, right? Environmental, social, governance. That's about so much more than the energy consumption, the lights, the HVAC of the building. We're talking about all the things I mentioned previously, carbon, water, but also things like regulatory regimes that the building is subject to in terms of energy disclosure. We're talking about LEED, BREEAM, BOMA, the certifications and ratings. We're talking about how you communicate that information to your shareholders, your investors, and this is going to be massively important if you transform that sector. You need to have the full scope of information. You can't just be looking behind the meter at a single system in a building.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this work in terms of tenants and landlords or owners of buildings?
Right, well, one of the things we can do is we try to change the word out from tenants to customers, right? These are customers of the building owner. They provide the rental income and the reason to exist for the landlords. So you got to think about them as a relationship, and sustainability does not observe the boundaries that your lease structure might or the walls might create. Sustainability expects that you know something about the tenant space, the landlords and what they can control about the building. But here's, the thing is, the landlord's got the money to make the improvements in the building. The tenant may just be there for a short period of time. You got to bring those parties together to express the needs of the tenant around sustainability and let the landlord help them drive and achieve those outcomes. That's a relationship.
So in terms of the return on investment that you're seeing, because I know that there are, there's the REIT space, right? And we have a lot of allies and friends within that area of real estate investment trusts like Kilroy Realty and really progressive groups like that have carbon neutrality goals and ESG goals, and they always do GRESB, and they always do a lot of these kinds of reporting standards. And I'm assuming your data helps inform a lot of that reporting and helps standardize that on some level. And there are a lot of studies saying, there's a huge return on investment, or at least it pays off in some way. What are you seeing?
Well, these studies are very real and borne out by now practice. So prior to life, before I started Measurabl, was at CBRE, right? CB's the world's largest real estate services company. So we had a very lovely view from kind of on top, looking down at the behaviors in the individual assets and across the funds, both, by the way, corporate or institutional owners of real estate. And what we found over and over again was that sustainable practices, whether it be things like energy management or just tenant engagement, with a whole melange, consistently led to outperformance. What I mean by that was, yes, you would see operating expenses decrease and therefore net operating income in the building improve, so a little bit wonky, but that's the way it would work. And we knew that as a fact of life, but what we were surprised to find was that that relationship was ever stronger in terms of cost of capital. So getting pension funds, institutional investors to invest in the asset, they don't do it at the asset level, they do it at the fund level, right? And they were believe that these funds were lower risk, higher reward. And you started to see lower cost of capital. You saw preferred interest rates on the debt. You saw better underwriting criteria. So that was the most exciting, because now you're moving not just a needle on operating expense, you're moving a needle on debt and equity. These buildings are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a big deal.
Yeah, a huge economic opportunity, and more people should be contributing and investing in that. Thank you so much for your time, Matt.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
We'll be back. Stay tuned for another interview after this.